You thought tonight's Emmerdale would be just another rush to the hospital and wrap it up storyline? No. This is the kind of episode where someone at absolute emotional rock bottom can explode at any second, and the person standing closest ends up taking the hit, completely undeserved. The whole hour is anchored inside A&E, a place that's already tense on a normal day. But tonight it's worse, because everyone walks in carrying their own psychological baggage. It starts with Laurel Thomas being brought in with a serious head injury. The fall happened at home, at Mulberry Cottage, after her son Arthur pushed her over. Arthur and Gabby stay by Laurel's side, but here's the problem. Arthur is deliberately keeping quiet about what really happened. And it's painfully human, yet genuinely frightening. Because when a child does something wrong, the first instinct isn't always to confess. Sometimes it's to protect themselves by hiding the truth. Arthur's silence isn't just dodging responsibility. It creates a bigger consequence. The doctors can go down the wrong path and waste precious time chasing the wrong explanation. On duty is Jacob Gallagher, currently a trainee doctor, working under Dr. Todd, a demanding supervisor who's quick to criticize. Laurel's case unintentionally drags Jacob back into the trauma of his mother's death, and suddenly he's trying to do his job while holding together the cracked parts inside him. Psychologically, Jacob is caught in pressure on top of pressure. Outside, the ward is packed, the boss is pushing, the case is heavy. Inside, old grief is resurfacing. When someone hasn't fully healed but has to function in a high-stress environment, emotional overload is almost inevitable, and all it takes is one more trigger for everything to collapse. And that trigger arrives. Beowulf turns up at A&E too. He's in pain, insisting someone must treat his injured arm immediately, especially after Manpreet refused to prescribe medication. But hospitals run on rules and triage, and Bear is made to wait. The longer he waits, the more his frustration boils, until it starts tipping into loss of control. What feels real about Bear in this moment is that some people aren't only hurting physically, they're hurting because they feel unseen. When they're already carrying that resentment, waiting doesn't just feel like waiting. It feels like, everyone is abandoning me. Back at home, Patty and Mandy panic when they find a smashed mirror. Bear punched it before leaving. I love that detail because it doesn't need explaining. It instantly signals impulsivity, a person crossing their limit. With no clue where he's gone, Patty and Mandy's fear feels grounded and immediate. Did Bear just step out to cool off, or is he walking away from the village for good? Running alongside the hospital drama is Kane and Sarah, teaming up again for another car theft to make fast money. Kane wants the cash, but he's starting to worry that Sarah is becoming reckless. It's Kane's version of controlled sliding. He convinces himself it's just a short-term move for a short-term goal, but watching Sarah go too far forces him to face the possibility that the cost will be bigger than he planned. Then the police turn up, and suddenly it becomes a high-wire act. One wrong move and they're caught. Back in A&E, the medical team begins questioning whether Laurel might have an underlying health issue that caused the fall. Hearing that, Arthur's guilt intensifies, because time is being pushed into the wrong direction. This is where I want to be blunt. Silence is still an action. And sometimes, keeping a secret to reduce trouble only makes the outcome more serious. The most nerve-wracking part is Laurel regaining consciousness. How much will she remember? Will she remember Arthur pushed her? And if she does, will she tell the truth? The episode plays it like a slow-burning bomb. Laurel's memory decides whether the truth comes out, or gets buried even deeper. Then comes the climax. Bear sees Jacob and piles the pressure on, demanding immediate treatment. Jacob can't help without breaking the rules. When Bear's urgent need collides with Jacob's professional limits, Bear shifts from aggression into violence. It's described as terrifying, and reminiscent of Ray's death, which tells you this isn't just heated shouting, it's real danger. And there's a double tragedy here. Bear is spiraling, but Jacob is the one caught at the impact point of that spiral. Jacob is already shaken by grief, and now he's forced to face violence in the very place that's supposed to be safe. What really angers me on Jacob's behalf is Dr. Todd's reaction. Almost no compassion for what Jacob has just gone through. And the episode quietly asks a sharp question. When your staff is under threat, is a manager's coldness, professionalism, or plain indifference? If Todd keeps seeing Jacob only as someone who might break protocol, rather than a human being pushed into danger, then her true colors aren't just hinted at, they're exposed. A kind of icy authority that cares about rules on paper, not the breaking point of the person standing in front of her. Overall, tonight's episode feels like a pressure cooker. Laurel lying there with a family secret hanging in the air. Jacob trying to be a doctor while wrestling trauma. Bear slipping out of control. Patty and Mandy panicking at home. Kane and Sarah gambling in the streets. And the best part is, Emmerdale doesn't need melodramatic, overwritten dialogue to create tension. It simply places fractured people into the busiest, most high-pressure space possible, and lets them collide. If you watch this episode, look closely at two things. Arthur's eyes when the doctors head down the wrong theory, and the moment Jacob is trapped between rules and survival. Those are the beats that will linger, because it isn't just soap drama. It's the kind of mistake and helplessness you can easily imagine happening in real life.